Man, it's been 15 years of playing COD. And I'm still fucking here on Nuketown. I cannot escape what is going on. Um, yeah, figured I would emerge from the dead to give my thoughts on Black Ops 7 because I've actually been playing not a ton, but a fair bit. I think I'm up to, I want to say about like 18, 19 hours worth of game time so far. I'm about halfway through. I don't know if it's second prestige, the first prestige. I've prestiged once and I'm about halfway through again, so however you want to count that. So yeah, I guess enough time to give some sort of insight, some sort of opinion on the game. I know I've got a couple of friends who may be on the fence about getting it, so this is probably more directed at them than anything else, but you know, who knows, I might have some old school subscribers, some people who might just stumble across this video, and yeah, I guess just for my own sanity as ever, just to sort of talk through what I've been experiencing, what I think, all the rest of it. So I guess, you know, start off with some of the positives. I do think it's fun for the most part. I think it feels, for one of the newer CODs, kind of a callback to a more organic experience, I guess. You don't feel like you're getting sort of dragged from match to match and the algorithm is sort of dictating the experience. You know, it does feel kind of like these are real people in a real lobby that persists, which is great. And you know, it's hard, and you know, I'm sort of like I'm fucking going off every game. This is definitely like, I don't know if it's my best game, certainly my highest score I've had so far. But yeah, I mean, my KD is sitting around like 1.3. So not exactly, you know, setting the world alight. That being said, I do feel like a lot of it is down to, you know, me learning the game, adjusting to kind of some of the newer COD dynamics, the fact that everyone is just fucking amazing now, and it's not so much like, I don't know, spawns and things like that, although, you know, I do think spawn could be a little better. It just doesn't feel like I said, my whole experience is being managed, and I said it's just sort of an algorithm that's controlling what sort of games I'm getting, the sort of lobbies, opponents, all the rest of it. So I appreciate that. You know, I think the map's pretty good for the most part. There's a couple that I prefer more than others, obviously, but yeah, it's, you know, I would say in terms of good maps, probably like at least 7 or 8 like really strong ones. I think the 16 that came out sort of, you know, at launch. So about half the maps I think are good, and then, you know, there isn't really any map that, you know, I fucking dread playing. And I'm certainly not the biggest fan of Den, for example. And there's probably a couple of others in there, but yeah, I do enjoy the maps more or less. I think they're well designed. Could there maybe be a little bit less, I guess, horizontal movement across the lanes? You know, there's a lot of different crevices and alleyways and different places that people can come from. But again, I think that's just new COD. In terms of other benefits, I think the perk system is a pro. I think that they've done a good job with balance there. Doesn't seem to be any like real crutch perks. I mean, you know me, I like my visibility. I like my wait, is it called visibility? No, vigilance is the name of the perk. So you get like an increased mini map, and counter UAVs don't affect you. I do like cold-blooded. Flat jacket I do find to be kind of a necessity most of the time. But there's lots of different combinations that you can use, and they stack on top of each other in different ways. And you know, I've been experimenting a little bit more lately with the kind of the scout bonus, which I think is when you combine your red and blue perks. If you get a kill, then you don't appear on the mini-map. So that kind of negates the need for Ghost and a Silencer, which is pretty cool. But obviously you've got to be out there killing. So yeah, just things like that I think are pretty interesting. And to be honest, I think I'm still scratching the surface really on all the things I can do with my perks and sort of my class loadouts. You know, the gunsmith is a cool feature. Obviously that's not really been a thing on any of the CODs that I've played a lot of, but it's nice having all of these different perks. Most of them don't have like major trade-offs. You know, you can get quite a few attachments that are just positives to your gun, but again, I think they do a good job of balancing those, so you know, you can sort of build, you know, really strong guns, you know, in terms of movement, in terms of recoil, whatever. But if you want to kind of get a bit of best of everything, then obviously you're sacrificing some of the others. And then the ones that do provide like significant buffs do come with some downside, which I think is fair enough. I guess talking about the guns does kind of maybe bring me on to some of the areas for improvement, perhaps. I think the weapon balancing is okay, but I guess it doesn't feel like a ton of variety. You know, I'm seeing a lot of people essentially running the M15. You know, you'll see some AN-27s, maybe some Dravex and a couple of others, but essentially, if you're not using one of the best SMGs or one of the best assault rifles, yeah, you're going to struggle. It's not going to be a lot of fun. And within that, I think the assault rifles are considerably better than SMGs. You know, certainly more versatile. It's a pretty tough experience using the SMGs in any kind of range. So yeah, you know, I like to see. I don't really want to see any of the guns get nerfed, even though I do kind of feel like everyone's amazing. And it would be nice if people were struggling a little bit more, but I figure I'm probably going to struggle even more than they do, right? So maybe just seeing the SMG's recoil at range go down a little bit would be nice. You know, shotguns, pistols, any of the rest of it, I have not really experimented too much to kind of really give a firm comment. Although it does seem that whenever I do need to go to my pistol, I'm pretty good with it. Like I get kills. Running a pistol as primary, probably not such a good idea, but yeah, as a secondary, just to whip out, it does the job. Snipers, ugh. You know my thinking, they just don't have a place in Call of Duty. You shouldn't have one-shot weapons that can kill you across the map. Just doesn't work. But yeah, they aren't going anywhere, and I'm yet to, I think, be missed by a sniper. Generally, you see that little white glare and you're dead. So it's annoying, but again, you know, nothing that's going to change, so I won't dwell on it too much. I do think the spawns are a little, yeah, could still be refined a bit more. You know, they're fairly sticky, but they'll do a lot of these kind of random spawns where they might be holding a position, they're spawning in front of me, and then I just get shot in the back by someone who's just spawned there, and then I spawn behind him, and then turns out that was the only guy just to sort of spawn there, and that maybe my team pushed too far or whatever. Again, I'm still learning the game, but it does kind of feel like it does throw some spawns sometimes, which just seem there to fuck you up, which yeah, I don't appreciate. I keep throwing EMPs, by the way, because I think they're EMPs or another kind of special. Because I've been playing a lot with Stim, and I just prestige for this game, so in my mind I've got Stim shot and I'm trying to use that. So you see me keep throwing stuff at the walls, that's what I'm doing. Although, like I said, I am not very good. What else would be better? I mean, the movement, I think, is okay. Again, I think it's just one of those, you know, I'm being an old man shouting at clouds here, because I understand it's sort of an evolution of the game in terms of the sliding and, you know, the jumping and all the rest of it. I'm a pretty good jump shotter, but sliding is just not a mechanic that I feel that comfortable with right now. Again, I just need to put more time and work on it, but I don't know. I kind of feel like there's probably the balance between positioning and movement probably not quite where I'd want it to be. Obviously, coming from my own bias as, like, you know, someone who's predominantly, you know, success is based predominantly on being in the right spot at the right time. But you know, if you're all posted up in a PowerPoint and two people come around a corner sliding and jumping in different directions, very easy to get overwhelmed. So yeah, you know, that isn't my favourite thing about this. But yeah, on the whole, I mean, again, the fact that I've played about 19 hours solo, I think says something. I think the fact that I'm still quite looking forward to whenever I next get a chance to play, probably tonight after Hoops, I imagine. Again, is I think a sign that the game's not terrible. And yeah, you know, it's I think that's probably all I've got to say, really. I mean, this gameplay itself, it was a hard point on Nuketown. Nuketown is like the featured game mode at the moment. I wonder what my score would have been if that cunt wasn't running around knifing me all the time. I probably died to him at least like 10 times here, but I guess if he didn't get me, somebody else would. I would say I'd be interested to know what my stats are on Nuketown specifically, because I do feel like most of my best games have been on Nuketown. Again, is that because I know the map and can play it better than others? Is it because there is just less, I guess, opportunity for guys to get around the map in different ways? I mean, you know, the routes and the angles are what they are on Nuketown. So it's harder for people to surprise you. The main thing that's going to catch you out here is just as I said, that if there's like a little blip in the spawns and it just flips someone momentarily who gets to come from behind you, that's, you know, that will get you. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame though, because I must say, having a new COD is all fine and everything, but then when you find yourself still playing Nuketown, the map that I have been playing consistently now for 15 years, yeah, I know, it'd be nice if there was ability to play other maps a bit more, or at least to feel like competent on other maps. Generally on other maps, I really don't know if I'm going to go, you know, 44 and 20, or if I'm about to go, you know, 7 and 36. It's you know, a real lottery. And I must say, like, speaking of old maps that they've brought back, I mean, Raid is okay. I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite maps by any stretch. Certainly nothing compared to like how I felt about it in the Black Ops 2 days. And Hijack, oh my god, Hijack. Hijack really is a, you know, fuck or be fucked kind of experience. I've had some good games on there. You know, if my team's pretty competent, we will, you know, have some fun. I have legitimately had to rage quit because I am like 2 for 19 and I literally cannot get out of my spawn, which isn't fun. You know, on that note, I think, you know, being, I guess, protected as a single player, having some sort of mercenary mode would be nice. I guess, you know, I understand why they aren't going to put that in just now, but yeah, I do find myself playing against parties a lot, and again, this is completely anecdotal, I would say that 65% of the time I am on the weaker team, which again, as someone who is not a strong player anymore, does not make sense to me, but here's what it is. Anything else? I would say the score streaks on this game are pretty meh. I think a lot of that's down to map design, to be honest with you. There's a lot of indoor spaces, but then, you know, there's a lot of like delays on the score streaks and things like, I mean, a lot of people complained about the Hellstorm, which, you know, takes about a year to unpack. So if, you know, you're trying to defend a flag or whatever, that's just not a viable strategy. Everyone's going to get inside by that time. But yeah, I don't need to fill time anymore. The game's just ended. You see there, I think 84 and 25. Didn't come top of my team, and we lost the game by 50 points. So yeah, this is the best example I've got, I'm afraid. I have been posting some of my better games on my second channel. I think there's a link somewhere. I could maybe put that in the description if anyone's really keen to see what those other games look like. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. No notes, no preparation, first take, just sitting down talking. Hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, we'll see if I can get better at this game. Maybe there'll be a bit more content if I can convince some other people to play with me. Obviously, that would probably lead to some more content. Otherwise, might be it for another year. So, yeah, peace.